All right, guys, now I'm going to be introducing Olivier Gratessolle. He is an open pit mining engineer with over 20 years experience on operation and consultancy. And Olivier has joined AMC in 2018 and has led the Perth Operations Consulting team since last year. Olivier has a master's degree in mining engineering from Imperial College of London and an MBA from IE Business School, and has worked around Australia as well as in Americas and Europe. Welcome, Olivier. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, Datamine, for the opportunity to present today. And good day, everyone. So just before I get started, this is about the optimization churn that Stuart referred to before. So it's not about whether it's good or bad, but it's more about how to make it efficient and basically churn data or scenarios quickly. So sizing, we all know that sizing matters. Think about clothing. We don't want a shirt that is too big, trousers that are too small, or the other way around, or safety boots that don't fit. We just want clothes that fit well and look right. So in mining, it's the same principle. We need a processing plant with the right capacity, matched to the mine size and the processing mining rate, so that value is maximized. So in this presentation, we'll look at the case study where we tested a range of mining inventory sizes, both open pit and underground, along with different mining and processing rates. The goal is to identify the scenario that delivers the highest NPV. I'll show you how a Minemax scheduler project can be set up to run multiple scenarios efficiently. And I will also highlight features that aren't directly related to efficiency, but are worth noting. And finally, we'll review the results of the case study. So here's the agenda for today. First, I will provide some background on the case study. Next, I will explain why we chose Minemax Scheduler for this project. Then I will walk you through how the Minemax project was set up. After that, we'll review some of the case study results. And finally, we'll wrap up with a conclusion and a Q&A session. So let's start with some background on the case study. The deposit we are looking at is in Oceania. It's a greenfield gold deposit, and it's interesting because it has both shallow and deep mineralization. Historically, the client focused almost entirely on open pit mining. There was very little underground exploration data. At the strategic level, they had already defined the optimal pit size, the staging, the mining rate, and the processing rate. As the project moved forward, they shifted to tactical scheduling. But here's the challenge. The economic assumptions changed, and suddenly the project was no longer viable. Then new underground exploration results came in, and they looked very promising. They opened the door to revisit the strategic plan, this time including the underground inventory. At the same time, the client also wanted to keep some tactical detail in the mix. So still on the backgrounds, the client wanted to evaluate a wide range of options, including underground inventory, to identify the scenario that maximized value. For open pit, the options included a range of pit sizes, a viable cutoff grade, a range of mining rates. Staging was excluded because prior work consistently showed it added no value, even for different pit sizes. For underground, the options included the phase sequence, a range of cutoff grades, a range of mining rates, and the backfill method. For processing, the options included a range of production rates and 2 plant configurations, a single train and dual train. The dual train option allowed the main train to be shut down once the open pit was depleted. And finally, the client wanted to test whether the scenario delivering the highest value remained optimal at a higher gold price. So why did we use Minemax scheduler to reassess the right mine size? Because we needed to evaluate a wide range of scenarios, and Minemax makes this efficient once the project is well set up. In fact, we generated over 200 scenarios. And although Minemax is designed for open pit scheduling, we adapted it to include underground inventory. This allowed us to schedule the underground sequence and optimize the timing of the open pit to underground transition for maximum NPV. The client also wanted to retain the accuracy of previous tactical work, so we replicated the vertical rate of advance and used the same truck haulage inputs from the tactical scheduler. This is unusual because it's rare to go from tactical back to strategic scheduling, but I will show you how we achieved that because it's an interesting aspect. So this presentation won't cover every option that we analyzed. Instead, we will focus on pit size, underground cutoff grade, and processing rate. We'll also touch on the open pit mining rate, which isn't shown in this table. The mining rate was optimized automatically in Minemax by purchasing the number of shovels needed to maximize NPV. So for the pit size, we tested 7 options ranging from extra small to extra large. Those not talking about shirts here. Those are all based on single stage pit designs that were derived from optimization shares across multiple revenue factors. For underground, we looked at 5 cutoff grades labeled A to E. And for the processing rates, we looked at 4 production rates from extra small to large. Now let's go through how we set up the Minemax scheduler project to run scenarios efficiently. So we'll start with the overall mining inventory setup. Then we'll cover open pit, then underground, and finally processing. The most effective approach was to minimize the number of Minemax project files, ideally just one or just a few, because switching between projects is time consuming and also can be confusing. We imported the entire mining inventory into a single project used for all scenarios. From there, setting up a scenario was simply a matter of selecting a pit size, an underground cutoff grade, and a processing rate. On a side note, variations in mining costs, processing costs, or commodity prices can be handled in the same project or in separate projects if the scenario count becomes very large. So for this case study, we worked with 7 pit designs and 5 sets of MSO shapes, MSO being mineable shape optimizer. Each set of shapes corresponded to 1 underground cutoff grade. We ensured that there was no overlap between the open pit inventory and the underground inventory. So for each pit size, we removed the MSO shapes that were inside the pit, plus a buffer, and that was on for each option. So each pit option had its related underground inventory. In terms of setup, we imported one CSV file for each pit size and one CSV file for its related underground inventory. So we had 7 files for the open pit and 7 files for the underground. So each underground file included all 5 cut-off grade options. On the right-hand side there, that's the result that we had in terms of the Minemax pits. So using pits, using the Minemax term. So so at the top there, we've got all the seven pits, and then we have a long list of underground inventories organized by pit size, cut-off grade, and phase. So yeah, the first underground inventory there, that's basically for the underground stopes that are outside of the extra small pits for the A cut-off grade option and for phase 1. To select the open pit inventory for a scenario, we set all pits to a maximum movement constraint of 0 there at the bottom, and then unticked the relevant pit size. So in this example, we are considering the S pit. That's the one that we've unticked. And you'll see that all the underground inventories above were also constrained to 0 for movements. Later, we will we'll see how the relevant underground inventory is activated through the CapEx decisions. The optimal mining rate is modeled using CapEx decisions that determine how many shovels and trucks to purchase. So here you can see that we constrained the shovel capacity in hours using a mining process called shovel_capacity. This mining process, shovel_capacity, is different from shovel operating hours. We used a separate mining process for operating hours, and that was for reporting. So this is where replicating the vertical rate of advance from the tactical scheduler comes in. So for a given shovel fleet, let's say 5 shovels, we run the tactical scheduler at full capacity, considering drill and blast and other activities, and that was done for each pit size. As you would expect, shovel utilization dropped as the pit became more and more narrow. We converted this utilization from scheduled based to bench level based. This chart here shows utilization versus bench depth. So we've got 100% utilization at the top, and the utilization decreases as space tightens. So what that means is basically when you put 100%, if you've got a fleet of 5 shovels, there's enough space to use the 5 shovels. If you've got a 50% utilization, you can only use 2.5 shovels. The shovel_capacity field mining process, was calculated by dividing operating hours by that maximum capacity utilization. So shovel hours are constrained by a vertical rate of advance tied to bench level and derived from tactical scheduling. For the underground inventory, stops needed to be scheduled bottom up. So since Minemax scheduler works top down, we reversed the stop levels for both scheduling and 3D visualization. This way, the stopes were scheduled and displayed as being mined from the bottom up. For the underground setup, we added a CapEx decision for each phase and the capital expenditure and define. And we selected the relevant pits, still using the Minemax term. There, as you can see, so there we are basically scheduling or selecting the inventory for the stopes that's outside of the small pit and for the D cutoff grade option for phase 1. We also selected the relevant inventory and the location to location precedences. In this case, we have phases 2 and 3 that follow phase 1. And once again, that's for the underground inventory rated to the S pit for the D cutoff grade option. For the processing setup, we created a downstream process for each plant size and mapped them in the decision tree with splits. By turning on the plant size relevant to the scenario under capital expenditure and define, so here the large plant, we set the processing rate and apply the CapEx for that plant. To make this work, obviously, all downstream processes must appear under constraints with a maximum of 0. To navigate scenarios within the same project, consistent naming is key. So if you have many scenarios, it becomes very difficult to follow the naming. So here we named each scenario under this order: pit size first, then plant size, and then the cutoff grade option. So now let's look at some case study results. This chart shows normalized NPV versus pit size. So you've got the pit size at the bottom, so no pit, and then from extra small to extra large. The dashed line represents open pit standalone scenarios, and the dot represents an underground standalone scenario. So the dashed line shows NPV is consistently negative for all pit sizes. These results shown here are for a medium-sized plant, and in fact, no pit was economically viable at any plant size. The dot shows the underground standalone scenario with an extra small plant, and basically that scenario achieved a higher NPV, but still not truly positive. So now let's have a look at combined open pit and underground scenarios. Here, some scenarios at the top deliver a positive NPV. We are comparing 4 plant sizes, the extra small plant in green, the small plant in orange, the medium plant in blue, and the large plant in gray. And the underground inventory is based on the D cutoff grades option. So the results show the M plant, so the blue line consistently gives the highest NPV, and the peak occurs with a medium-sized pit. So the best outcome in this case is a medium pit combined with a medium plant. And now you will ask, so what happens when we consider other cutoff grades? So this chart shows normalized NPV versus underground cutoff grade for different plant sizes, and this is all using the same pit size, the medium pit size. So we can see that NPV for the small, medium, and large plants rises consistently, as the cutoff grade increases up to option D, and then it levels off. Another way to view the results is by looking at how total payable gold impacts NPV. This trade-off can be important for some clients. So earlier we saw that the M pit combined with the M plant gives the highest NPV. And this is shown here with the white dot. So NPV rises as payable gold increases, peaks at that point, and then decreases. Some clients also want the trade-off between NPV and the mine life, or total process tons. This chart shows NPV versus total plant feed, and the trend is very similar to the previous chart. This chart shows the annual processing profile with a breakdown by open pit ore sent directly to the plant in blue, open pit ore that is stockpiled and reclaimed in green, and underground ore in orange. At the top, it's the open pit standalone case, and then we've got scenarios with the underground cutoff grades ranging from A to E at the bottom. So the A and B options have the shortest mine lives, and that's because low underground cutoff grades make it uneconomic to mine the entire inventory. For the C option, all the inventory is mined, and with D and E, the entire inventory is also mined, but it's smaller, hence why the mine life is shorter. Okay, so to conclude, let's recap the key takeaways. So first, it's important to set up a Minemax scheduler project efficiently to run a large number of scenarios. We recommend loading the entire inventory for all options into a single project file. And this minimizes the number of projects and makes navigation through scenarios easier. Once the inventory is in one project, you can activate only what's needed for a scenario using maximum movement constraints and/or CapEx decisions. And finally, it's possible to schedule underground inventory in Minemax Scheduler. Thank you for your attention.